I'm going to give you 3 tips that's going to help you move forward and use what's in your hands. A lot of times we get stuck because we're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing during this time, right? But I want to talk to you that we're in this uncertain time. We're in this pandemic, right? And the other day, what came back to my mind was Bishop T.D. Jakes once said during an interview, God makes trees. And that was so powerful to me, right? Now, you might be thinking, God makes trees. That doesn't mean a whole lot. And really, out of context, if you don't put it into context, it might not sound like a lot. But when you start to gain the context that he was speaking in, it brings life, it brings inspiration, and it may even bring the vision of your destiny. So I want to explain what that meant to me. God makes trees. Okay, so right now we're in the middle of this global pandemic, right? Many people may feel fearful. Many people are battling diseases. Some of us, including myself, have lost family and friends. It's been tough, right? We haven't been able to go out to a lot of public places. We're having to practice social distancing and a whole lot of other new practices just to stay safe. And I would dare say that many of us are even wondering, is this our new normal? Is this what we really can look forward to, right? And we're wondering, how do we even adapt to this new normal? Okay. But I want to tell you, God makes trees. I believe that during this crisis, what that is saying is there are some seeds. There are some seeds that have been in many of us. And during this crisis, it's going to be our time for those seeds to start growing and producing, right? No, we're not going to have a full grown tree in a matter of weeks. We're not going to have that full tree in this time of crisis, right? But this crisis, I believe, is going to be a catalyst for some of us to dig deep and start to produce. Do y'all believe that? If y'all agree with me on that, start hitting that, start letting me know you agree, that you know it's something inside of you that it's time to start producing, right? So now Bishop Jakes, he went on to explain that thing a little bit more, right? Not just about producing, but he went on to kind of really illustrate God makes trees. God didn't make a chair, he made a tree. God didn't make a desk, he made a tree. So, in other words, God did not make your first, your second, maybe even your third book. He gave you a story to tell. God did not create an online course. He gave you information that people need, right? God did not even close the church building doors. Come on, somebody. He gave you the opportunity to reach beyond the 4 walls. God makes trees. And the other way that I'm going to say that, what's in your hands? I want you to really think about that. If God made trees, what's in your hands? Now, I've been sharing all week, telling you to look at things, what's in your hands, and think about it. And today I'm going to give you 3 tips for you to start moving forward with the things that are in your hands. Number 1, stop the comparison game. Stop it. You cannot compare what other people are doing with what you are called to do. Okay? You cannot compare it. Yes, they may use the same tools, right? They may use the same tools, but the results and the impact are going to be different. So, for example, John Maxwell, he might, that's one of my favorite authors and speakers. He might produce 4 books in a matter of months with the same paper and pencil or the same computer, right, and keypad that I use or that you use. But instead of you producing 4 books, you may produce a blog. Now, the temptation may be to think, I wish I could write 4 books like John Maxwell in a matter of months, right? I wish I could be a best-selling author. But God may be saying, I gave you the talent to write the blog, start with the blog, stay consistent, and let God give the increase. Whether that increase is 30, 60, or 100-fold, your job is to use what's in your hands. So stop the comparison. Okay? Number 2, learn and do. I'm going to say that again. Learn and do. Or learn something new and implement. One of the things that in the kingdom-minded entrepreneurs and a lot of our coaching packages we do is we help you to create that balance between consuming information and then actually applying that information. Okay, because we know what happens, when we started looking into our mindset, what happens a lot of times is fear starts to creep in. And fear will tell us that we cannot apply what we learned, right? Fear will tell us we're not good enough yet. Fear will tell us we have to learn more. Fear will tell us take one more class, attend one more webinar before we implement. I know that because for a long time, I was lost and stuck in that analysis causing paralysis. I was there. I was stuck because I fight that perfectionism monster. I mean, I know it's not real, but I fight it, right? So I understand that mindset has to have a shift. I understand that we have to figure out how to consume and learn, but then don't just stay there learning. We got to apply, right? I understand. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I heard that really helped me. 3 little words. These are 3 powerful words that's going to help you right now. Massive, imperfect action. Did y'all get that? Massive, imperfect action. When I heard that, when I began to really think about that, I had an incredible mindset shift. I began to think about I had to trust myself and I had to trust the God that I serve to order my steps. I began to think about this. I want you to think about this, that even though you may take a major leap, that doesn't mean you're going to always cross the finish line right there. Now, I might be about to date myself with this example, but do y'all remember the game Mother May I? Someone would be standing at the front and you would say to them, Mother, may I take, you would say, Mother, may I? And they would say, take 3. No, they would say, take 1 giant leap. And then you say, Mother, may I? Right? And when you take that leap, it didn't mean that you crossed the finish line. It just meant you got a little bit closer to that goal. So I want you to start thinking about, I've learned this information. I'm going to take that massive leap and it's going to start getting me, it's going to start propelling me to the ultimate goal, right? That's going to help you to use what's in your hands. All right. And then when you make those leaps, when you make those steps, I want you to remember, God is the one who gives the increase. Third thing, our final thing, Our final tip to help us move forward. This is a big one. Operate in your calling. Okay. I know that there are many of us that have a lot of things in our hands. And I know sometimes it can be difficult for us to decipher the gift that we're really supposed to use because we do a lot of things well, right? Think about it. TD Jake said God makes trees, right? Okay, but a lot of us, we can see all kinds of furniture. We get excited because we can see chairs, we can see dressers, we can see desks, and then we end up making an entire line of furniture because we can do several things well, right? But we are not being effective trying to make that entire line of furniture. So, right now, during this season, yes, right now, during this pandemic, I want to encourage you to focus in on what I call clarity of calling. I want you to start thinking and really focusing in on what is my clarity of calling? What has God called me to do, especially in this season, right? I found a lot of KME, kingdom minded entrepreneurs. This is where they get stuck. And I know because I've been there. And I'll be honest with you, from time to time, distractions come in, even now, to try to pull me back there. Think about this distractions like, okay, you may have a certain set of skills, right? You may know how to make a chair, you may know how to make a desk, right? And it looks something like this. Someone calls you up and they ask you to coach them on something that you know how to do, but it's not what you're called to do. Have you ever had that to happen? Someone may ask you, can you do this? Can you make this chair for me? But you know you're supposed to be making desk during this time and you're distracted. But here's what you need to do. Refer, refer. There is so much power in referring, right? It not only helps you to stay focused on what's in your hands, but it blesses someone else in their calling. Okay, so many of us got to start being productive at doing and operating in our calling. When we do this, it's a game changer. When you can focus and stay laser keyed on your clarity of calling, it's a game changer. I want you to think about it like this. In Kingdom Minded Entrepreneur, we are entrepreneurs and ministry leaders, right? I want you to think about it like this. When Jesus came, he was called by many names: the great I am, master, friend, king of kings, right? He did many great works. He healed the sick, raised the dead. He taught in the synagogues, but he had a clarity on his calling, and that was to redeem us back to the Father so that we could have eternal life. Each one of us, our calling is probably even greater. There's probably even a greater need for our calling right now in the middle of this pandemic. You know what? In the past, what's in your hands may have been dismissed by others. It may have even been dismissed by you, by your own self. But what I want you to remember is that what may have seemed like a rod in your hands, what may have seemed just like a staff, a stick in your hands, right now, during this time, God is saying that that same thing is meant to part a Red Sea. It's powerful. Stop comparing yourself to others, right? Stop comparing yourself to others. Learn and do, and then operate in your calling. Doing these three things is going to help you to stop being stuck and move forward with what's in your hands. I just wanted to share a little mindset kingdom training today. And I wanted to remind you during this time, there is something very important in your hands. I'm Stephanie Hill Nchege. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a mindset coach and ministry strategist at Kingdom Minded Entrepreneur, where we help you to break through limiting beliefs and then start building those thriving businesses and ministries. Have an incredibly blessed day.